This week on Checkpoint.
The lady that stole my money. You can hide away from me. You can run away from me, but you can never run away from the man above.
Upholders of the law accused of breaking it.
He said no, the funds had not been paid in yet. When we contacted the road accident fund, they indeed told us and they sent us proof that funds had been paid in.
These claimants say they are collectively owed millions of rands by dishonest lawyers.
Van
Cumming is failing me big time.
Peter Labuskachny?
We tried to track some of them down.
Are you here, Peter?
And got a taste of what their clients say they've been experiencing for years.
Can I take your name and number? I'll get him to phone you back.
Please do. We've put out criminal cases. We've done everything we can, and nothing is happening.
This is Checkpoint, and I'm Nkepile Mabuse. Imagine winning a civil lawsuit or being paid out by the Road Accident Fund, only for your lawyer to take your money and run. Some of the people we interviewed for this episode have had to hire new lawyers to track their old ones and their missing monies. Checkpoint intern Jabulile Mbata investigates upholders of the law found on the wrong side of it. Thapo Dlamini was behind the camera. Nigel Road in Springs, east of Johannesburg, has claimed many lives. The carnage is blamed on its sharp curves and lack of speed humps. The busy arterial road links Springs in Gauteng to Delmas in Mpumalanga. It is here where in August 2016, 19-year-old Sihle Mvimbi was involved in a vehicle collision that altered the course of his life for good. The bakkie he was in lost control while swerving on one of the road's notorious curves, spitting Sihle out. He crashed into a wall, injuring his skull. The car he was travelling in overturned, entrapping the driver behind the steering wheel. The day had begun with them attending a joyous family wedding and ended with Sihle fighting for his life in hospital. His mother, who was at another family function, suspected something was amiss when she saw several missed calls from a relative.
To know Abu Sihle bathole accident in Nigel Road.
A family member drove her to the scene.
Into engingayisho nje ngingathi Sihle wathi ma maqedwe ma wathula. Then ama paramedics athi kimi mama please cela ukhulume naye continue ukhulume naye. Into engilokubengilo ngisho kuye ukuthi Sihle my son wake up I love you you know those are the things engikhuluma nazo.
Sihle was admitted to ICU and remained in hospital for 14 days. 3 years later, he is still not fully recovered.
Because of the accident, now I'm suffering to back pains, around my mid and upper section of my spine, close to my right shoulder blade. So it happens when I'm just standing and whatnot. Then my memory is poor.
He also suffers from mood swings.
Nakafuna uzi-expressa ngokuthi abe aggressive. Qala ngangithi usibongise naye why adelela kaso. So somebody wangilesena ukuthi no ungakhohlwa ukuthi imemory yakhe ne-speech sakhe azisakhona ukusebenza ngesikhathi esi1.
Sihle needed constant care, which his mother chose to provide. She paid a hefty price for remaining by his side.
Mina, my life was affected ukuthi emsebenzini they got a Jew yokuthi manje bangixosha. You know, I couldn't fight back because being concentrated kumntanami, well-being umntanami, ukuthi recovery umntanami.
She may actually end up being unemployed forever.
In 2018, I had to lose my car because bengana income and benginemoto
Wim Krenova attorneys became the family's saving grace when they represented them at the Johannesburg High Court for a compensation claim against the Road Accident Fund. A whopping 4.8 million in compensation was paid out by the fund. Wim Krenova attorneys were entitled to a maximum contingency fee of 25%, which would have left the family with 3.6 million rand, but the firm withheld 100% of the money. Section 86 of the Legal Practice Act obligates every legal practitioner to open a trust account for payments in such matters. Once a case is finalized and an order is made, the practitioner is supposed to deduct his fees, leaving the rest for the claimant. In Sihle's case, this didn't happen. In the meantime, the young man's medical bills were piling up. Physically hurt and having not received a cent, they turned to another law firm, Dlamini Attorneys, to compel Wim Krenova to release their funds.
When we were expecting these monies to come through into our account, we got a call that these guys had received these monies. They are entitled to the 25%, right, but everything else has to be paid out into our account for the client's benefit.
Getting Wim Krenova to pay back the money hasn't been easy.
They have decided no, they will not communicate with us. So we went to the Legal Practitioners Council and we lodged a complaint to highlight all of these issues. For these guys, their mandate was terminated. They don't have the mandate to do this anymore. The monies must be paid over to our account because we now have instructions to proceed in accordance with the court order.
After 3 whole years of waiting, Sihle and his mother still hope to see justice.
Van Kraming is failing me big time. It's failing me big time. That's what I can say. Because I'm going through this because of them. I don't want the money for myself. The money, it's for Sihle's well-being.
Checkpoint made several attempts to get hold of Karen Stewart, who represented Sihle on behalf of Wim Krenova attorneys. Finally, in December, the law firm responded via email, declining to grant us an interview, stating that the parties are currently engaged in dispute resolution and the matter is therefore not open to any discussion. Coming up,
Many times you have to decide, are you eating or are you getting pain relief?
There's the threat of financial loss to the house. Furthermore, it's not fair.
Jason Seyman was a successful and hard-working shore excursion manager until a car accident in 2006 halted his peaking career. Driving to work on a sunny autumn day, a reckless driver skipped a red traffic light on Voor Trekker Road in Krugersdorp, west of Johannesburg, colliding into Seyman. He was hospitalized. The damage done would cost him his career.
I had a fractured patella, dislocated shoulder, fracture from ear to ear. There was front lobe damage, so you have speech impediment, aggression issues, short-term memory. For a period of 8 months, I know there were periods that I basically forgot things. There's a lot of my life that is basically a big blank at this point.
He could no longer do the same work. Paying for his medical bills was a struggle. His sister Cindy says post-accident expenses were overwhelming.
Pending medical fees, pending costs, replacement of vehicle, and all these things that suddenly just come out of nowhere.
The timing of an attorney by the name Pieter Labuschagne working for Jooste Labuschagne Attorneys couldn't have been more perfect.
Pieter Labuschagne approached us, said he was from a company at that stage, Houtflish Attorneys, which was, he told us later, disbarred due to their conduct. And he was starting his own company. But he approached us, he said not to worry, he would carry us as he was the person who had the benefit of having experience in all these matters of road accident funds.
It was a case of, if I can recall correctly, not to worry. You would be basically looked after. You have had something terrible happen to you, and I'm here to ease your transition in this process, and I'm here to assist you as best as possible through this process.
It didn't take long for all these promises to be broken, the first being the promise to communicate.
He didn't really keep us involved. We would have to follow up or chase him literally after he'd initially got the case.
Labuschagne previous partner, PC Houtfish, was eventually struck off the roll in 2018. Seyman's main focus remained compensation for his injuries. Court proceedings kicked off in 2011.
He then contacted us the day we were getting ready to go to court, and he told us that not to worry to even go to court from Krugersdorp to Johannesburg to the High Court, as he'd reached settlement out of court with the Road Accident Fund. The amount he settled for was lower than the amount required to carry my brother forward in life, but and that he should have consulted with the family that before he settled.
The payment was made the same year.
Peter contacted us and he said no, the funds had not been paid in yet. When we contacted the Road Accident Fund, they indeed told us and they sent us proof that funds had been paid in. So the 1.338 was paid into the account of Jooste Labuschagne.
We filmed Seyman calling the RAF to confirm that the funds had indeed been released.
The amount which was paid, it was a settlement payment, meaning it was an amount which it was agreed upon, and then it was paid as a lump sum.
In 2013, Seyman was allegedly made a peculiar offer by his lawyer.
He offered a settlement in December of about 2012, 2013, a final settlement of 250,000, which was, when I asked for a full statement to see how he arrived at that amount, he said, no, well, you know, he can't give that. There is no statement, but we can trust him. Now, unfortunately, at that stage, trust had gotten lost. He says he's keeping the funds to protect and look after his clients. I don't know how you look after somebody not allowing them access to their funds.
The family tried taking legal action against Labuschagne.
We did sue. We went to attorneys to sue. They issued summons. Again, there is proof of summons being issued. Apparently, nothing happened. Just nothing happened. It fell flat. We went to the Law Society. We did press the various charges. And the Law Society did call in Peter. There was a hearing in front of a panel. Peter went with an advocate, and I was not allowed to attend as Jason's witness because they said I was not an interested party. I said, but you know, literally at that stage I was his breadwinner. Yet the Law Society, the panel, did not allow me to sit in. They asked me to leave.
Feeling failed by the Law Society, in 2016 they tried other avenues.
We've put out criminal cases, we've done everything we can, and nothing is happening.
The Law Society found Peter Labuschagne not guilty of misconduct, despite him having failed to pay his client monies owed.
So it's very hard. He needs certain things and you can't get it. We are still very fortunate. We have each other. There have been a lot of good people in our lives, but it's still wrong because you can't give him quality of life. It's very difficult. And you struggle a lot. He goes without pain medications. Many times you have to decide, are you eating or do you get him pain relief?
There's the threat of financial loss to the house. Furthermore, it's not fair.
Peter Labuschagne denied Checkpoint an interview. He sent us this email stating that he abides by the ruling of the Law Society of the Northern Provinces and that he has no further comment on this matter and will not be available for an interview.
Peter Labuschagne?
We tracked him down.
Are you here, Peter?
To this house from where he practices. But he must have spotted us on his security cameras. The office phone was not answered for the duration of our time there. We called again several days later. This time, the call was picked up.
Hi, how are you?
We asked when the firm planned to pay back its client.
I know nothing about that, but I only started here in January. Can I take your name and number or get him to phone me back?
Please do. It's Jablile.
He didn't get back to us. Next, what does the Law Society of South Africa have to say?
I am concerned if you are to indicate to me that there are matters in terms of which it is alleged that this period of time has lapsed, but no action having been taken by the Legal Practice Council. That definitely ought not to be the position.
When Lucinda Kunene lost her husband in 2013, she hired Godla and Partners attorneys to wind up her late husband's estate. Grace Rembe was the lawyer allocated to her by the firm.
Grace Rembe called me on the day before the money was paid, and she said that the money is meant to be transferred to GR Attorney's trust fund account. And I asked her, who does this trust fund account belong to? And she told me that it is for the Godla Attorney's trust fund.
Instead of issuing an instruction for the 200,000 rand due to Kunene to be deposited into the firm's trust account, Rembe allegedly channeled the money to her own personal bank account.
She explained to me that it wouldn't take more than a month.
After several months, Rembe disappeared, seemingly with the money. Kunene reported the matter to Luvuyo Godla, a partner at the firm.
After Ulufinda and others came to my office, I rushed immediately to the police and I reported the incident.
Kunene's wasn't the only complaint against Rembe.
Do you perhaps know how many victims there are?
For now, those who are already who were deposed to affidavits at the police station, at least we have around plus minus 16 of them.
Kunene blames Godla for hiring an alleged fraudster and says he's done nothing to assist her.
He was like saying, you can never come to our offices as depressed as you were and leaving the same office even more depressed. But to my surprise, that's exactly what they did. Even him, Mr. Godla, that's exactly what he did.
Kunene lost her husband 6 years ago, and now all faith she had in the justice system. Godla, on the other hand, believes a positive outcome is possible.
It's more likely people will be compensated.
When?
It's more likely people will be compensated. But obvious, when people are, it's something, I think it's a question that can be answered, that one, by AFF, which is the Attorney Effectivity Fund.
It seems Rembe has gone to ground. Neither Checkpoint nor Godla and Partners attorneys or Kunene have been able to track her down.
So would you not say you are responsible to some extent as well?
I might say yes, insofar as Grace was an employee of Godla Partners.
The lady that stole my money. Grace Rembe, wherever you are, you can hide away from me. You can run away from me, but you can never run away from the men above.
Spiwe Mushwane knows all too well the pain Kunene is going through. In 2010, while living in this block of flats in Hillbrow, Johannesburg, his family's peace was interrupted by a police raid.
Nama-documents wakhona i-title deed ikhona ibonisa ukuthi wayithenga. Before ngizoboshwa ngababonisa labantu laba ukuthi la ngihlala khona not ukuthi ngiyayijekile iflat akabhuti wami. Mara bona bathi ngiyayijekile ifraud lamaphepha la nginawo.
He says he was manhandled in front of his wife and kids and taken to Hillbrow police station where he spent a night in a cold cell. After his release, he immediately sought legal representation from Themba Ngubeni to sue the police for unlawful arrest. He says Ngubeni kept him in the dark from the start.
Benginokuthi ngimfonela angabuyi kimi. Aye court angabuyi kimi angitshela ukuthi ecourt bathini. Kuthi kuzobadala malini kanjani angazange angitshela.
The case was against the NPA and the police, and a ruling was made in September 2016 by the Johannesburg Regional Court.
I-judgment leyiphumile ithe i-SAPS kumele badale 30,000, NPA badale 20,000 rand.
In 2016, the police paid out 30,000 rand, but to date, Mushwane hasn't received a cent. Once the money had been paid into the trust account of Ngubeni attorneys, the lawyer cut ties with Mushwane.
Ngizamile ukumfonela amafoni wami ngathi wablokile bengangithuli.
Mushwane filed a complaint with the Law Society on the 6th of November 2017. The case was dismissed due to the fact that the society had not received a response from attorney Ngubeni regarding Mushwane's complaint.
Law Society ayingisizanga, NPA ayingisizanga, Department of Justice ayingisizanga, ne-Fidelity Fund nabo abangisizanga.
He says the unlawful arrest traumatized his entire family.
Umntwana wami lo Facebook baloku abuza amaphoyisa bakubophilini basazobuya futhi bazokubopha. Naye sometimes mabona amaphoyisa uvela gijimela endlini uyasaba ukuthi maybe izoyenzekela lento le yenzakala kini.
We asked the Legal Practice Council, a regulatory body which in 2018 took over the functions of the Law Society, why nothing has been done to assist the people we interviewed.
I am concerned if you are to indicate to me that there are matters in terms of which it is alleged that this period of time has lapsed, but no action having been taken by the Legal Practice Council. That definitely ought not to be the position. There are just so many
Van Staner promised to revisit our cases, but at the same time shifted blame to the Fidelity Fund. Motlatse Molefe is the CEO of the Legal Practitioners Fidelity Fund, which is responsible for the actual reimbursement of defrauded clients.
You know, my email address is out there. Everybody who's got a complaint normally would actually copy me in or phone me. So when I look at those things, I intervene and I make sure that action is taken almost immediately.
Does the Fidelity Fund only take action when you're involved?
No, madam. I don't think you should misunderstand me. I said we have parameters of 3 months as a turnaround time. More often than not, it is the claimants themselves who delay the process. The banks, for instance. Over a period of time, we would have a situation where we write to the banks, can we have the bank statements, or to the client, can we have the bank statements so that we can verify, and people do not come back to us.
So even the banks do not come back to you?
They didn't. In many instances, they take a long time.
So maybe the problem is with the banks now.
But in terms, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Then who is to blame?
He refused to discuss specific complaints, except the one against Grace Rembe.
If the firm confirms that Rembe was their employee, then we actually have no choice but to settle it if it's a valid claim.
He insists rogue lawyers are in the minority.
It's a moral issue, really. Moral decay in our society has gone from the top to the bottom. And easy come, easy go has become the principle. And people take what is not theirs, and accountability is poor.